All right, so if you skip past the first video, that's a-okay with me. If you feel like you kind of know enough of Xcode to import in your images and replace the existing graphics in the empty iOS and tvOS starter kit, I can't fault you. All right, so all I've done is I've dragged out a color sprite over here. We're going to use this as our first angled platform. And let's just put this guy kind of up here at the top. We're going to do another one, so I'm just going to copy and paste this guy, and I'm going to change this to Angled Platform 2. Obviously, resources I've already imported to the kit, which I did in the last video. And we want these two platforms to behave very similar to each other, obviously. So go ahead and just shift select them. So hold down the shift key, grab both. And just for right now, what we're going to do is set an alpha mask for the physics body. And let me zoom in a little bit here so you get a better idea of what's going on. It's actually going to make the physics body just mimic the same kind of step ladder shape of this, and obviously it doesn't take anything out of the interior of it, but it's just kind of cookie cutter shape on the outside. And go back and select both of them again. What we want to do is make sure that we check off dynamic, so it's going to be left out of the physics simulation. We also want to check off allows rotation, so nothing can rotate this. And then finally, we do not want this affected by gravity. And these are the exact opposite settings that we're going to put in for our next object. And actually, you know what? If you want to just have a little bit of fun, do this. Go ahead and copy out a couple more of them. We might even want to push this off to the side a bit. Because what we're going to do is we're going to roll a barrel down here. So with this sprite node, what I want you to do is go ahead and grab the barrel texture that we've got. All right, scoot on down here. Again, we're going to set the physics body. This time it's going to be circular, though. I do not think that we want to do an alpha mask because that could be really clunky with this kind of pixelated shape. And again, with this one, make sure we have it selected. All these are going to be checked off. So go ahead and just test this out here in the scene editor. Click on animate, and doink, you can see that, let me deselect it, that it rolls down there, and it should keep going. There we go. It's probably going to pick up a little bit of speed again. And it'll just keep going on and on. Well, it might actually come to a rest. But what we're going to do is actually remove the physics bodies from the source graphics here, and I want to replace them with kind of a more normal, just rectangular body, but one where we can kind of put in certain places and leave out of certain places. And ultimately what we'd like to do is kind of have areas that occasionally do have a physics body and sometimes don't. So that way the barrel can roll down and then it'll randomly just kind of drop down to the next level, which of course is similar to the game we all know that we're kind of recreating here. So let's backtrack a step and we'll get rid of the physics bodies on these guys for now. Go to none. And of course now it's just regular artwork. They're just going to stay there. We're in no danger of dropping down to the bottom. And let's grab just any old SK sprite. We don't even have to texture it. In fact, let's go over here and just set the color down to nothing at all. The important part, though, is we can still set a body for this, bounding rectangle. Hey, that makes sense, right? Let's toggle all these guys off. We can rotate it like so. And we'll just get it right over top of this platform. That looks about right. If you want to punch in the numbers for the rotation, you might find that works a little bit better. In fact, you can do this. You can even kind of press down over here and move it like so. And then obviously what we'd want to do is, well, maybe on this one, let's make it just a full, the length of the platform. And then on this one down here, we'll have an area that is reserved for the kind of the platform that goes in and out. So let's do it right, maybe right around there. So I'm going to just keep kind of copying and pasting this. One thing I have noticed is that sometimes for these untextured kind of dummy objects, the actual body ends up kind of not getting respected, like when you scale it around like that. So if you do need to, what you might have to do is just go back over here to none and then click back to bounding rectangle again, just basically set it up one more time. And then of course, untoggle all of those. Let's just see what's happening right here though. Okay, it looks fine. I would like to know if it's going to actually roll. Yeah, that could be a problem. What we should probably do is let's take one of these and kind of make it like an end cap over here. It's a little clunky rotating these. Okay, there we go. And I hit animate one more time. We'll see how this looks. Okay, back over that way. You know, you can kind of tell it's certainly a physics-driven object. It doesn't exactly behave how the old Kong barrels would, but that's okay. We don't have to completely recreate it. All right, so let's think about what would go right here. Well, obviously something that we need to code in some functionality for. So let's go over to our file. Actually, I was just thinking, you know, we could maybe get away with it using some of the fun timeline actions, but I don't know. It's better to do it this way, I think. We want to learn a little code today, right? Go to create a new Swift file. Obviously, we want this to be for both the iOS and the tvOS versions. Let's call this platform, and we'll do is create it. It really doesn't matter where we create it inside of here. You might want to organize it somewhere a little bit better than dropping in there with your scene files. Let's do this. Let's make a new group from selection, and we'll say custom code, right? Custom classes, something like that would work. All right, fold that guy down, and let's wait for Xcode to kind of realize, hey, we should be typing here. Oh, there we go. Let's import it in Sprite Kit. Then let's declare this is a class. This will be our platform class. This is going to be a subclass of SK Sprite node. Do your opening and closing brackets. And what we'll want to do is, at some point when the game begins, basically set this up. So we'll look for anything in the game that is a platform, and we'll just call setup on it. Okay, so we'll do is a quick little test here. Print this platform setup, and yeah, I guess that's a good enough name. I was thinking, should we call it breakaway platform? But that's probably fine. So now take this name and let's head back over here to our game scene file, and let's take another one of our kind of dummy objects. I'm going to give it a name just so I can find it a little bit quicker if I have to go through here. We'll call it breakaway platform 1, but the really important thing here is we want to go over here to custom class and then put in there platform. Okay, so there's the name of it, platform. That's what we want to match up. And then let's go ahead and resize this guy again. And remember, this is still just an invisible object. We don't want to see it, but what we want to have happen is that the body for it goes away and comes back. Just kind of doesn't even have to be randomly, but just at least at some, timing that makes sense. And you'd probably want to kind of line these up right over here. Okay, so initially, let me go ahead and just take the bounding rectangle back off again, just reapply it just to make sure that it does have the correct shape. I know it seems that way. I've just seen stranger things in the program before where it just doesn't respect it after it's gotten scaled. And all right, so that's it'll initially start off like that, and then let's go over here to our let's go to the game scene file. We actually have a function that gets called in here already, set up children, and if you want to just do a quick little search for that, set up children, you'll find the other one, or basically the main function, is over here in our operations file. So we're iterating through all the children in the scene. What we could do is we could just test to see if a particular node that is run across through this iteration is actually a platform class. So what we could do is put in here some platform, node as platform, and then replace some button with some platform. And then what you can do, just put dot after some platform, and any functions that we have in there, we should be able to access now. So I think I just called it set up, didn't I? I might not have saved it yet, and that's making it so that the code hinter doesn't get the hint. Let's go back over here to operations. All right, looks like it does kind of recognize it, and we would know that this is all working if we see down here in the output window this platform setup. So let's go ahead and do it real quick. Okay, so I'm launching it now. I'm going to hit the new game button, and sure enough, we do get this platform set up. All right, so let's write a new function inside of this class, and this will be the one that does exactly what the function name says, switches the physics. So it's going to take the physics on and off. Let me go ahead and get rid of that. And we're going to call this with a timed SK action, which of course we haven't written yet, but this is a little bit more fun. So let's start here. So we're going to say if the physics body equals nil, which means it does not exist, then what we're going to do is one thing. Otherwise, we're going to do another thing. So in other words, down here, if there is a physics body, get rid of it. Okay, and actually that is very easy. All we have to do is write self.physicsBody is going to equal nil, and then go ahead and put this in your clipboard for right now. You're going to use it quite a bit. Up this way, we're going to say that self.physicsBody, this is going to equal skPhysicsBody. So after we've gotten rid of it, we're going to have to make it again. So we're going to say rectangle of size. And this is just going to be self.frame.size. And even though we don't have a texture, it does have a frame just based on the, the size that it's currently at with that just color. And then dynamic, we're going to set to be false. So basically, we're just going to, since it's going to get created new again, it's going to end up using all those default properties. And we want to make sure that they are the way that we like them. So affected by gravity. And then finally, allows rotation. That's going to equal false. And then it's up here where we set it up that we are going to basically just time it to go on and off. Okay, and this is surprisingly easy. We're going to first make a wait action. So there's going to be wait sk action. This is going to equal sk action dot wait for duration. You could put in any number here you want. Let's just go with 3. And I don't think you'll end up really seeing the that this is on and off at such a set rate. Even though it might kind of seem like it's random when the barrels end up going through it, I think that kind of more comes into how often the barrels end up coming across it, right? Because if we're not really seeing it go on and off, you can't really time it in your head. So what we're going to do, sorry, I kind of talked through all this, but I'm making another action over here. I'm just going to call it run code. And this is going to run a block of code. So the actual action is .run block. And then inside of here, we're going to call our switch physics function. Okay. And anytime you're inside of one of these run blocks over here, you do need to write self in front of it. So this is just going to say self.switch physics. And then what we have to do is set up a sequence. So we wait, and then we run the code, wait, run the code, and so on like that forever. So the sequence, I'm just going to call seq for sequence, sk action equals sk action dot sequence. And this wants an array of other sk actions inside of here. We have 2 of them, wait and run code. There you go. And then we need to repeat this. So I'm just going to put in here repeat seq for the action name, sk action. This is going to equal, we really don't have to put sk action after this. It's inferred, but I don't know. My hands just type it. Repeat action, and there's the action that we're going to repeat. So it's going to be our sequence. So it's just going to repeat around forever. And then the last little bit of work here is we just need to actually run the action. So it's going to say self.run action, and then of course repeat our sequence. Before we do anything else, let's switch over here to our game view controller. We do want to see that the physics are showing. So inside of here, you want to put skview.showPhysics equals true. Obviously, you can see I worked that a little bit because it's already in there as true. And now I'm going to send this over to the Apple TV, and I'll stream it through the QuickTime app so you guys get to see it live in one moment. Okay, controller connected, and you do get to see the physics bodies over here. All right, so there it goes, and it just went away. There goes our barrel rolling down, and it's there, and then suddenly it's not there anymore. And of course, we don't have any bodies set up for this one. But now we can put in here as many of these platforms as we want. I'm installing the Xcode beta right now. And I think that's actually good enough for this video. So let's come back in a new one, and we'll figure out something else to do.